Woo woo! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Royal Podcast. I am your host, Princess, with my beautiful co-host,
Queen.
and welcome to our Queendom. So, what's going on, everybody? Did anybody expect to see Queen and Princess together?
Probably not, I'm sure.
Okay,
I mean, but the royal may have given away some clues to some people.
Because how can you be royal without having two queens, but a queen and a princess? Queen, why are we here? What are we talking about today?
Well, since we are talking about, king, well, not king and queen, but queen and princess, right? Or even a king. What is it like to be an alpha and work alongside another alpha?
Especially a female alpha.
A female alpha.
I mean...
Well, do you consider yourself an alpha? Alpha female?
Have you met me? What do you think? I mean, do you consider yourself to be an alpha?
So it's funny. I never did until someone had to put a mirror in front of me and I had to see myself. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, wow. Okay. All this time I thought I've been tapping into my feminine side, right? And that's the energy I gave off. And then I realized, like, wait, I may be a bit controlling. But I think the world makes it seem as though to be controlling, that sounds so negative.
And it's not.
And I don't think so. I mean, because I feel like even being my controlling self, I know when to bend or when to let go and allow someone else to take authority. But I have to see that in you.
So who said it? Jill Scott. I think she was like, if you can lead me, you can lead me. But if you can't lead me, you can't lead me. And it's the truth. And I think that's what happens a lot with women who are bosses, who are considered alpha. You got to be able to tell me what to do.
Right.
Oh, no, if you could tell me what to do, you could tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't. And I think a lot of times women who are driven, women who have goals, women who want to step out and do more in their life, they're automatically seen as, oh, that's an alpha woman. And she has certain qualities about her that's negative when it's really not.
Well, it's funny you said that because I think that's me. So the only way I probably can take order or receive direction from another female is if I feel like she can lead me in a direction that I'm willing to go. And then I kind of can relax and take take the back seat because like even with this, right? It's like, sis, you put all of this together. I really didn't have much input. I gave feedback, but you were the driver. You know what I mean? And I was okay with that. Even putting the logo together. I wasn't there for the creative part of it, right? The making of it. But I did that because it's like, oh, Princess got it. She got it.
And that says a lot because...
Right. Oh, I'm not doing that with her.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll be honest. This is the first time I took a back seat. And I can say, I don't mind saying that.
But I'm going to say something. For a minute, I was like... So I'll say this. I'm an alpha woman. I take charge. But I'm also okay with being like, I can take the back seat too. It's not going to hurt my feelings. It's not going to take away from me. To see another queen shine or to see another queen do her thing.
And that's not the problem for me. It's not so much about letting someone shine or anything like that. But if I'm gonna be a part of something, it has to make sense.
Absolutely.
And if I'm gonna be a part of something, I have to be excited about it. You get what I'm saying? Like if I'm not excited about it, then I don't want to be a part of it. I feel like it's a waste of time. And then two, is again, you talking about shining. Shining in what way? If you're gonna shine negatively,
then I don't want none of it. Don't give it to me. I don't want it. I don't want to shine negatively. I don't want to be looked at in a bad light. I want to show up well, and I want to show up. So okay, so let's talk about our names.
Okay,
let's go to that first.
Okay,
because they always say that your name precedes you, and then you kind of start walking in that grace.
Right.
So I was actually named by my father.
Okay.
I am the last of all the children, blended family. And so my father said, oh, look at my little princess. We should name her that. This is the story they're telling me. It could be a lie. You're about to get put out. If this is a lie, it's going to come out and everybody going to talk about it. So my mother told me that she told the woman to tack it on the end of my name. So I love my family, but they gave me a country bumpkin first name. My first name was originally supposed to be Donine.
Donnie.
Donnie.
Nah, I never heard that name.
So my father's
Donnie.
first name is Donald, and my mother's name is Jean.
Oh, so they made it up.
Donnie, country bumpkin, like straight up.
I would have called you Dada.
Dada. There's only one person in my life
That would be a nickname, Dada.
Dada. So they gave me, that was supposed to be my first name, and my mother said when she got my birth certificate, it said Princess. So they were all walking around.
The nurse was like, "No, we ain't about to do that to that girl." They always looking at you like, "Poor baby, we ain't gonna do that to you."
But you know what? I want to go a little deeper. Maybe she saw my destiny before I saw my destiny, and was like, "You know what? I see more for her. I see her being able to step into more."
That's
more
messed
life.
up though, because you definitely would have saw that nurse outside. Like, I told you
exactly. Oh, if that had been me and homegirl would have had a fight. Like, I told you that was not my child's name.
You went to go pick up that birth certificate. Your mom went to go pick up that birth certificate. Like, this ain't it.
But she accepted it,
right.
And so I have two middle names. My other middle name is Janelle. So I went through school being called Janelle because I was so embarrassed by being called Princess.
Oh wow!
But as I got older and got into the work field, I started really leaning into that name. And I mean, we're going to touch on some more topics, but it comes to being, I had a lot of insecurity. So when you have the name Princess, but you think you're a princess? Would you think you're royalty? And now I'm like, I am.
Right.
And I am. My name is Princess. Yes, it is. And so when I met you, I'm like, Queen. Is that your nickname? Is that your stage name? No.
I get that all the time. Is that your stage? So it was my stage name in the past. It was Queen Ella. 2 words. My, government name is Queen Ella. And that's because my grandmother name is Queen Ella. 2 words. My mom put the two together.
Yeah.
But I, when I was younger, I used to look up the word and I could never find a meaning for it because no one else had that name. But today it's very popular. I believe in Liberia. If not Liberia, Nigeria, but it's definitely in Africa. There's so many women in Africa with the name Queen Ella. So
I love it.
I identify with that because it's back to our roots. And
yes.
You talk about a name preceding yourself. Like whenever I walk into a room and they say, yes, we have a Queen Ella, right away when someone reads the name out loud, they go, oh, wow, that's a nice name, right? But when I hear Queen, it's like affirmations. Like you wake up in the morning, you say, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm great, whatever.
I'm powerful.
So to think about, from, my family called me Nikki, Nicole, it's my middle name. But when I got to school, when I started school, preschool, to hear Queen Ella all the time, I felt like I had to be that, wearing skirts all the time because I'm Pentecostal. My mom had me in church. I had to be a certain way. So whenever I date somebody, I already know, like, oh yeah, he gonna get it. If he stick around long enough, he gonna get it. But that's the self-control, right? So having that name, Queen Ella, and being raised by my mom and my family, who's very they're rooted. Our roots are in the church. So you have to be a certain way. And my image is everything. How many Queen Ellas do you know? So I have to be very careful about my image and what type of message I'm sending. But yeah, I've had days where I wanted to do things that would go against my character, but my name checks me.
Absolutely.
If that makes any sense. It's just
because you're a queen.
What would Queen Ella do?
Exactly.
Nikki wants to come out bad. Nikki wants to see what it's like, but Queen Ella checks it every time. And now that's who I've become, and I'm okay with that. Like, I'm glad, because looking back and looking at, the lifestyle that my friends have had and the results today, it's like, dog, I would have been just like you if I was out here in the streets acting wild and crazy.
And you know what? You touched up on a point, because I remember growing up, my mother had me, at 43. So she had me, she was an older mom. Hey, Mom. She's fabulous today. But my mother had me older, and I used to always remember my mom's older, feeling some type of way about that. But I'm going to tell you something. That's the best raising I've ever had. Because when I look at people with similar paths, there are things that I have excelled at that others have not. Right. So, to kind of recap it all, obviously your name does precede you. The people who name you, they don't know that they have the foresight at that moment of what you're going to be. But it's all in God's divine order.
Right.
All of it's in God's divine order for us to come together and have these names and have a purpose behind your name. Because we're royal.
Right.
And on top of that, they didn't know, hello, the Royal Podcast. This is what y'all did. Thank you, parents. So, okay. We started off talking about, can alpha women, boss women work together?
Working with this individual, when I say it helped me to grow, because at that point in time, it was like putting a mirror in front of me, and I realized you need to relax a little bit. Like there's certain things about you that need to change if you are going to ever be successful in life, because, you know, you're going to have to work with people, know how to work with different personalities, and women that they have strong opinions about things. Yeah. They like things a certain way. And I realized I lacked in communicating.
Okay, which I think is a good point. But I also think that sometimes in life we feel like if we can't click with somebody, there's something wrong with us or there's something wrong with them. But maybe we're just not meant to be.
So we're not meant to be, but also try to find a lesson in that. I pushed for it to be more than just we're collaborating on something together. So with that being said, I had to figure out a way. How can I mold myself without changing myself, just changing the form of me, but not changing who I am, right?
In a business situation. So
well, just period. Because you got to think about it. If your personality is this, and it may be too much for that, and you want that to work, then maybe you can make a few adjustments. You don't have to change who you are. You're still true to yourself, but maybe you have to compromise. Knowing when I need to take a step back and maybe say, hey, this isn't for me. Yes. Or maybe this isn't for me right now. But one thing I regret is not being mature enough to express that in words.
Gotcha.
If I could go back and change, I would have been more of an adult and had a conversation and said, like, you know, this is what's happening within me while trying to figure this out. And trying to do both at the same time, I'm at war with myself.